In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the long tail cast on technique using the thumb method. Now the first step of this technique is you need to estimate how much yarn you're going to need for your tail. So the first step is you always want an initial tail of about 6 to 8 inches. So that looks about 6 to 8 inches worth to me. So then I sort of just pinch at that point with my left hand. Now you need to estimate how much yarn you're going to need to do the entire cast on. So it'll depend on how many stitches that your pattern tells you to cast on. I'm going to show you the way that I do it. If you Google it, you'll see lots of different methods that other people do. My way is I just sort of eyeball it. I break it down into 10 stitch increments and I look at my yarn and say, how much do I need to cast on 10 stitches worth? So I look at this. This looks like plenty worth to cast on 10 stitches. So I go 10, then I move my finger to that, my left hand to that point, 20, 30, and so on. This is a very general way of figuring out how to cast on. I usually always wind up with a fairly long tail, more than I actually need, but I'd rather have extra tail than not enough. So this seems to work for me. So now at this point, we need to do our slip knot. So I want my slip knot to be around here. I have my tail on my left side and I have my ball of yarn, which I'll refer to as my working yarn, on the right hand side. I'm going to take my tail end and I'm going to cross it over the working yarn end to create a circle. Then I'm going to take a strand from my tail and put it under the strand from the working yarn to create a loop that I pull through here. And then I want to take this strand here and holding both the tail as well as the working yarn strand, I'm going to cinch these to create a loop like that. Obviously that's a really big loop and we want it to be smaller. So all we have to do for that is to take both of the strands and just give them a bit of a tug here to make the loop smaller. And there we go. So now we have our slip knot. The next step is you're going to take that slip knot, you're going to put it on your needle, and you want your tail to be on your left side, like so, and your working yarn will be on the right side. And just give those each a little bit of a tug so that that slip knot is snug. Now your slip knot counts as your first cast on stitch. All right, so the next step is you're going to take your tail and you're going to wrap it around your left thumb from the right side of the thumb to the left side, creating a loop around the thumb. Then you're going to insert your needle into this loop. Then you're going to take the yarn in your right hand and you're going to wrap it around the needle from the back to the front. And then you're going to take the loop on your left thumb and you're going to lift it up and over the needle. And then you're going to give it a little bit of a tug here to secure it. Now you don't want to go too tight, but you want it to be snug. Okay, let's do that again. So wrap around the thumb from the right side of the thumb to the left side to create a loop. Insert the needle into the loop. Take the yarn in your right hand, wrap it around the needle from the back to the front. Then take the loop and go up over the needle and then give the tail a little bit of a tug. One tip I have that might help is at this point here, once you've inserted the needle, you might want to hold the needle with your left hand to free up your right hand to then take the yarn around the needle. Then once you've done that, you can go back to holding the needle with your right hand. And that is how you do the long tail cast on technique using the thumb method.